But then later on, again, the distance was getting back to us, to her mainly. And she kept, there were times where I would, you know, text her and she would text me back and I could tell something was wrong. Her text, the way she was texting me she wasn't okay. So I kept asking her, "Are you okay?" And she just said, "I just miss you." I'm like, "I miss you too." And so, but then I overheard my parents talking to my grandparents and even her mom. And but then one day my mom was talking to her mom, and her mom wanted to come out here to Virginia. And I'll be honest, guys, I was so excited. Like it wasn't even a set plan yet. They were just talking about it. I was already excited. And she was excited. She's like, "I've never been on an airplane." I was like, "It's okay, I'll be at the airport to be there for you." So the summer, this was our junior year, the summer of our junior year. And I was excited. I passed, all my tests for summer, so I'm like, awesome. So they fly over here and make more memories. She went to church with me, and it was great, And but when she left, I started knowing a trend that was going on, and she started. I started really seeing, the more I got into the Lord, the more I started reading His Word, and I started getting more involved in church, I started seeing the difference in her. The Lord was actually showing me who she really was. I mean, for those of you wondering, yes, she was in the church, she was, apostolic, she was Christian and all that, she was that. But the thing was is that, she had a sense of insecurity. Because she really didn't have a relationship. She knew God, she believed in Him, but she didn't have a relationship. And so she kept battling with insecurity. I mean, she always said, I don't look good, I don't feel good. And I always kept having to reassure her, like, you're okay, you're fine, don't worry, God created you perfectly. But she kept battling that, and the more and more I saw, the more I realized, she had ideas, beliefs that were contrary to the Word. Not necessarily me or the way that I was living, contrary to the Word of God. And I kept trying to explain to her. I said, the Word of God tells us this. Look, I know you don't understand this, but we got to obey it, because it's not that God doesn't want us to have a fun life. No, He wants to have us a blessed life. But we got to have some rules to follow in order to get the blessings, And so that's why I started battling with, and she for some reason, she just couldn't understand, the grace and the mercy that that He gives to her. So again, the more I got into the Lord, the more I started realizing who she really was, and her actions and the way she was speaking was contrary to the Word of God. And not only that, I told her, I said, I want to become a minister. And I flat out told her, I said, to be honest, I can't, by this time we were talking about marriage. So I said, I can't marry someone that's going to contradict what I'm preaching, because then they're going to look at me and then they're going to think, well, look at your wife. Look at what she's doing. And that's where it slowly started. Things really started slowly going down. And I knew the answer. I knew what was going to happen. I knew it, and during that time, it was rough for me, because we were at it for, for a good 3 years, almost four. For a good maybe 3.5 years, we were dating long distance. It's rough, and you put forth a lot of effort into it, and after I explain all this, I'll tell you what I learned from it. But so the time went by, and I said, Lord, what do I do? I love her. I would do anything for her. And that I don't want to jeopardize my relationship with yours over hers. But I said, Lord, what do I do? And the answer was not one that I wanted. The answer was was one that I actually got angry at God for. I prayed and he told me, you gotta let it go. And I said, God, why would you give me someone to create so much memories with, to laugh and to everything? Why would you give me someone like that, like this, for so long, and then just tell me to just end it? Why would you do that? And for a while, I didn't do it. I didn't break up with her. But the cost of that was that every night I was always depressed. I was crying. I was, I mean, you guys look at my Instagram now, you look at me now, if you can picture me being depressed, being sad all the time, always crying, my Twitter posts, if you've seen my Twitter posts, they were not like how they are now. I was always, angry. I was upset, totally just not who I am right now. But yet at the same time, I was getting angry at God. I'm like, God, why aren't you doing anything? And he's like, you know what to do. You're just not doing it. He kept saying, have faith in me. Trust in my word that things will pan out. And it was hard. It's hard to, even us as Christians, even when you have a relationship with the Lord, it's still hard to put your faith in something that you don't know what's going to happen. And so finally, it came to the point where even my mom, she told me, she said, you're not happy. You're not the same EJ I knew before. And she said, as much as you love her, you don't deserve a woman that's making you cry, that's making you feel bad for everything you do. So the next morning, I told her, I said, look, we need to talk. And we got on Skype and we talked. And I told her, I put the cards on the table and I said, look, I want to be a minister. You know everything. You know what I want to do. Quite frankly, you don't know what you want to do. You're indecisive right now. And she was kind of upset at me for saying that, but then she stayed quiet. She was listening. And I said, look, as much as I love you, but I can't be waiting for you to get your act straight to figure out what you want. Because at that time, she didn't know if she wanted to be with me. She actually told me, she said, I don't know if I want to continue this. How rude is that? You put your whole love and your whole effort into someone, and then after so long, they just say, well, I don't know if I want to be with you. So I was like, okay, and I said, well, I'm sorry, but I'm calling it off. And she was stunned as if like she didn't see this coming. But I said, look, I will not jeopardize my relationship with God for you. I love him too much to give that away. And honestly, and this kills me to tell you this because you know how much I love you. So, but again, she was quiet the whole time, and I just said, well, I pray for the best for you, and I hope God gives you everything that you wanted. And I ended the call, and I haven't talked to her since.